My name is Gwangcheol Jang, as you presented. Chief of Education Policy Section here at the UNESCO headquarters. So I'd like to thank the organizers for inviting UNESCO at this Youth Summit and deliver a message on the important topic of global solidarity and the role of young people in recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic and building back better. So as we all know that the current health crisis has led to a temporary yet massive closure of education institutions. So the impact of the crisis on education will affect the world for decades to come. The pandemic has exacerbated the existing disparities and inequalities across countries and within countries, slowing down to the progress towards the Sustainable Development Goal on education, SDG 4. According to our estimate, some 24 million learners may not return to their educational institutions this year when they reopen, and this number is in addition to so many millions the children and youth already out of school before the crisis. The largest share of learners at risk of not returning to school after are projected to be in South and West Asia, as well as in Sub-Saharan Africa. So UNESCO has been developing some programs to support countries in their efforts to mitigate the immediate impact of school closures. In March 2020, it launched the Global Education Coalition as a platform for international solidarity and the innovative solutions to protect the right to education during this period. So I'm proud to count AASU, All Africa Students Union, among the members of this coalition. However, a huge disruption has been caused to the educational settings, while all students will need support to make up for lost time and learning. The crisis has particularly affected the most disadvantaged groups of population. So education systems around the world, regardless of their income level, had entered into crisis without being prepared. We need to build back better and strengthen the resilience of education systems. But this requires funding. Yet the COVID-19 pandemic affected the world economy like never before. Economic activity came to abrupt halt and a sharp recession with the detrimental effects on public revenue, raising capacity and budget allocations. I think other colleagues, speakers will talk about it. So amid these challenges, government reacted swiftly, making massive fiscal measures during this period to save lives and protect workers and their families. And according to by mid-September 2020, the world has deployed massive stimulus packages of some 12 trillion US dollars or even more. Despite this huge disruption caused to the education system by the crisis, the education sector has been largely invisible in their fiscal responses, with less than 1% globally allocated to education. So may I remind that the financing gap for achieving SDG 4 in the world's poorest countries has been already high before the crisis. And COVID-19 is piling up additional costs on education, already facing a huge challenge in the efforts to achieve SDG 4. Developing countries now have to contend with additional challenges, just like the richest countries. At the same time, you have seen countries, some promising examples where governments have committed to leverage the power of education and training as key investment, not only for ensuring a robust economic recovery, but also for sustainable, inclusive green transformation of the economy. So UNESCO, I'd like to repeat that the UNESCO advocates for protecting education investment during this period and beyond, as a strategy to fulfill the right to education for all, especially for the most vulnerable populations, as well as an efficient, effective, and sustainable economic recovery strategy. This year, 2020, and this month, particularly December, marks the 60th anniversary of the Convention Against Discrimination in Education. And we unfortunately witnessed that COVID-19 has widened the pre-existing crisis disparities and inequalities in education. So what we would suggest, invite governments and their developed partners to protect education in their financing and prioritize some enabling areas for achieving SDG 4 and the other SDGs, such as providing direct and targeted support to the most vulnerable populations in order to mitigate massive numbers of children and youth at risk of not returning to school. And the international aid must also prioritize countries most in need of support. And government will need to develop and implement education and training policies that equip youth with the relevant skills towards an inclusive and green recovery and structural transformation of the economy. And also, we know that the crisis has revealed the weakness of our traditional education systems. So strengthening education system will require investment, possibly high in the short term, but with the longer term benefits to strengthen the resilience of education systems. No one country or one organization can solve these problems alone. The COVID-19 education crisis taught us that we can work together to face the common challenges, and youth can play a critical role in this endeavor. Youth is not the future only, you are the present. You can make a difference by mobilizing international solidarity, working out innovative solutions, and acting to deliver results. So I believe that this platform of dialogue provides a great avenue for discussing ideas and exploring actions that are needed to secure sustainable funding for education and to build back better. And thank you very much.